interview, but I've seen what is written about what he had said. Precisely, I'm not sure if that's what he said, that the Senegalese authorities are responsible for the medical bills of the president's mother. So I think that's what I picked from it. But aside that, I have not listened to the entire interview, unless if you would want to put me through. But all I've heard is that Morsi, the chief of staff or whatever position they would have created, a minister, had said that the president's mother's medical bills are to be taken care of by the Senegalese authorities.
Okay, what is your take about the leaked memo? Let's forget about what Morsi said. What is your take about the leaked memo? All we know is that he said it's a genuine memo. It's true. It's real. So, what is your take on it from your own perspective as a native Gambian?
To be very honest, first because it's quite sensitive, it involves the mother of the president. And the first thing I would say is politicians need to distinguish politics and running state affairs, from, their personal family issues. You make your family or family members subject of discussion or subject of public scrutiny on, matters relating to the public or more so the president and his family is brought into public scrutiny on the basis that a huge sum of money is actually put on issues pertaining to his personal family. First, I think politicians need to be able to distinguish state functions and their private family issues. So I think the memo, it's a disappointment to all well-meaning Gambians in the sense that over 3 million of Gambian currency to be put on stuff like that is either the memo was not well written, but if actually it is a reflection of the reality that is the president's mother's travel to Senegal and having to get in relation to the memo. The first thing is the memo went to the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Finance is responsible for finances that have to do with the government, and this has to do with taxpayers' money.
Mm-hmm.
So, if this function is not, a government function, and if the activity that the money is going out for is not related to government activities, in as much as the seat of presidency, and the first family need to be accorded all the respect required. I don't think, the medical issues of, the president's mother definitely need to be, taken from the taxpayers' money. This is my belief. And I think, all presidents need to learn that it is not appropriate to put their families into public scrutiny when it got to do with, public finances. Because like the Mandinkas would say, nakodobe damin dabe jele. So, I put my mouth where my money is, because if this is taxpayers' money, then the taxpayers, have a right to question, wherever their money is going. And if their money is not going to the development of, the well-being and the welfare of the Gambian people who are paying these taxes, then they have legitimate questions to ask the presidency. Nobody comes to be a president just to kind of live a flamboyant lifestyle or to just build your family the way you want. But it also went further to tell that not just the level of financial misappropriations in government, but it also tells you how the presidency does not value our healthcare system. Because if the president, probably does not get, healthcare from the Gambia, his mother does not, or probably his family does not. Whose families does he expect that, the Gambian healthcare system is fit for them to go to if it is not good enough for his family? That also exposes the kind of leadership that we have. If our schools are not good enough for the first family, are they then good for us? Because that should be the basis, or that should be the litmus test. If you believe that it's not good enough for your family, then you should know that it's not good enough for any other family. And then, my whole take around it is like every leader should try by all means to avoid putting their immediate families into public scrutiny. Because most of the times it's either, our parents or our children and all that. putting them into the such public scrutiny does not tell well of a country, does not tell well of our families, does not tell well of our, social cohesion. But then the people will not stop talking because the people are paying taxes, and they are not paying taxes for millions to be giving, to people just to go and probably sit around somebody who does not even believe in our healthcare system.
So,
So all of these things could have been avoided before actually putting millions for people to guard your parent somewhere in a foreign country. How about putting those millions in our healthcare system, that the healthcare system is better enough, well equipped, that people don't need to go to the neighboring country for healthcare. But that also speaks a lot about the government that does not tell truth to its people. Because not too long ago, the president told us that our healthcare system is one of the best in the sub-region. That people in the West probably are paying for healthcare is even better than some Western countries. So if the Gambian healthcare system is better than other Western countries, why does the president's mother need to go to Senegal? That raises more questions than answers. So that already speaks to the fact that the dilapidated situations of our healthcare system, that we do not have enough to actually take care of probably horses and donkeys, let alone human beings. Because if the leadership does not believe in the system, who should believe in it? Who should champion the leadership in terms of believing in our own system, believing in our own doctors, believing in our own education system, believing in our own healthcare system, and so on and so forth. So if the leader does not believe in it, who do they expect to go there to seek medical help? So the act is not only about the financial issues that come with it, but it also talks about it reveals more about the systems we have in place, that the leadership does not even trust such systems.
so what is
So,
your take about the way forward? Because the chief of staff has already indicated that the culprit, the one who leaked this, is going to be dealt with because it contravenes the general orders, and something that the culprit will be dealt with severely. So, what is your take on this? So,
this government, this
is it a
government
way of discouraging whistleblowers?
This government does not want whistleblowers. This government does not want anybody who put them in a negative light. This government does not even want progressive journalism in the Gambia. This government only wants people who praise them, people who said yes sir to the leadership, who actually, are mediocres, and they glorify mediocrity. And all that people seek in that country is their check that comes to their pockets, not the collective good of the Gambian people. That's already, clear to every Gambian about, the doings and the actions of this regime. So for me, the short thing I would put in there to say, what's the way forward? Most times, you put a way forward for, democratic, conscious, and as well, forward-thinking leaderships. But the one we have in the Gambia does not care about the well-being of the Gambian, does not really care about either, what is right or what is not right. It's about let's do what we want. So we have a government of, Mate, Moma, let me just do exactly that. And then we have people glorifying it who are only after their paycheck. So even if we talk about progressive things that definitely need to be done, it won't be done. So the fact of the matter is that the government does not care about whistleblowers, that the population need to rise up to protect. It's not about what the government got to do now. It's about what the Gambian citizens need to do to hold this government accountable. And then accountability does not only stop in the media, does not stop in the houses. Until it gets to the streets, no government will take the Gambian people seriously, because millions of dollars is for what? And they're not coming out to justify why they got to put out those millions, but telling us, oh, the person who leaked the document will be dealt with severely. You will deal with somebody who is telling you that you're spending 3 million plus when other healthcare facilities in the regions do not even have basic electricity. Some of them even run out of water supply. That people don't even have, proper blood banks. That people still struggle to actually get basic, healthcare services. These are the basic things that the government need to deal with, instead of telling us, oh, we are going to deal with the person decisively. If a government is not ashamed of actually putting 3 million out there for people to just go and be guarding another person who is seeking medical care in a foreign country, that the leadership does not even believe in our own system, what can we tell such a government? It is disappointing, and the citizenry need to understand that this government does not care about our collective well-being. So for me, it's not about what the government is going to do, because this government continues to do evil day in, day out. So it's about the citizenry actually holding them accountable. And accountability begins with where are you putting our money? Why is it going to your personal family? Why is it not going into the collective good of the government? Why is it not going into our healthcare facilities? Why is it not going into our education system? Why is it not going into our agricultural system? The basic institutions that actually drive our economy. Why is it going to your family? Is the president's family, with all due respect, better than any other family in the Gambia? No. We respect that that's the first family, yes, but that does not mean that you take millions of taxpayers' money just for the benefit of a single family. How many Gambians are seeking donations online for their people to get treatments outside? But just a basic medical checkup, the president's mother got to spend 3 million and above. So for me, it's not even just about what the people got to do or what the government got to do. It's about the people accounting the government.
So you're calling for a mass uprising against the Barrow government?
What I am calling for is accountability. And accountability is asking the question, why do we continue to have dilapidated healthcare systems in our country? Why is the government setting, misplaced priorities? Why is the government spending millions on a family instead of the Gambian people? The president does not pay taxes. The president does not, pay his own bills. The Gambian people gave him everything that he needs. Why do we need to pay for even his family's, extra, like people within his family, their medical bills? But why can't we pay for that within the country? That raises the question. If the president does not trust our healthcare system, then that needs a massive uprising that we need to change our healthcare system. Because if you don't believe in it, and then you are the leader of the country, who should go there? If you think it's a death trap for your family, then who is it not a death trap for? If you think it's not good enough for your family, who is it good for? So these are the fundamental questions that Gambians need to come out and ask the presidency. For me, it's not even about what they need to change, because all they need to do, all they want to do is, oh yeah, we are going to take a decisive action. Decisive action because you wrote that letter, and a human being with conscience writing that, to get 3 million of taxpayers' money into something that has to do with just one single family, when you know that there are people in the provinces, in little health posts that do not even have basic electricity. That's where I got it, where I feel something is fundamentally wrong.
So you think this will make the government change its financial policy?
The government will not. In all sectors of government, corruption is well institutionalized in the Gambia. Corruption is well institutionalized in this regime. They don't care about the Gambian people. All they think about is, oh yeah, they will complain for 3 days and they will shut up. This is what the government of the Gambia takes the Gambian people for. Because this is what some of the ministers would even say. No, a guy, don't complain, 3 days, and it ends there. That is why they have glorified and institutionalized corruption. And they do anything they want and they get away with it, because that is what we are as a people. That is what we have shown the government, how much we do not care about the terrible things they do. Because if the leadership does not care about our health care facilities, and that is why a lot of these folks in government who are running, big state institutions would actually send their wives to come and give birth to their children over here. They don't even want their children to be born in the Gambia. They don't even want their families to go to Gambian hospitals. But these are the people who are running our government. So if we have such people running our government, what can we do as a citizenry? Wait for them to change, or make sure they change? And that change must come from a people's uprising to come out to say, what? We deserve better, we need better, and our healthcare systems got to be better. And we don't need a government that will be misplacing, our money, and of course, aiding and abetting, corrupt activities, and of course, championing corruption in government. Who have you seen been accountable for corruption in the Gambia? Even those who were caught red-handed would go to jail for a minute or two, and the leadership would actually, grant them, whatever, pardon to get them out. People who actually, misuse public funds. So that tells you how negligent and careless the government is about, public sector corruption, and as well as, living that flamboyant lifestyle and misusing public funds for either personal and family gains, which definitely requires a public, resistance to say we cannot continue to condone this. And I think that is the only way out. Otherwise, we can continue talking. Talk does not shake people who are, well grounded to, do all the, malpractices in the country. They have no remorse for the Gambian people. They don't care about the well-being. They don't care about... Imagine if a country is run by people who tell you that they don't even care that something is fundamentally wrong in buying a bank for 900 million, and 9 years later, you actually sell it again for 900 million. That is worse than using 3 million on the president's mother's whatever. 9 years of investment and you still sell the bank again at 900 million after buying it for 900 million? So when we want to talk about public sector corruption, this is just one of, probably just the tip of the iceberg. It's been massive, massive in the government of the Gambia. And until the population rises to say enough is enough, nothing will change.
Thank you so much, Omar Malmo Sambou. Thank you.
Thank you.